All right, we're doing this a little bit later than I would prefer, but it is what it is. I initially was hoping we kind of clear some of these people out of here, but I've kind of reconciled the fact that it's a struggle, just trying to get this set up to be able to do these. So what'll happen is if this gets interrupted, I'll start it up again. We're not going to get ran over on any of these websites or by any of these people who don't do any of the stuff that we do here. So just as a forewarning, now let's begin. I got a juicy crop of segments here, and I'm gonna steamroll through
Welcome
them.
back. We just heard from Republican leader Kevin McCarthy. Joining me now, Democratic Congresswoman Debbie Dingell of Michigan. Congresswoman, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thank you for being here. Please respond to what you just heard from your colleague on the right, Kevin McCarthy, who says that your party is more interested in subpoenas as opposed to solutions.
So I'm going to so disagree with him. I have great respect for Kevin McCarthy, and I heard a lot of talking points.
First mistake. I have great respect for the House Minority Leader. Let me say a little broad vulture. Why is it that every time these people who during an election cycle they spend the entire tenure just going after each other, saying nasty things back and forth, when they're not running? Oh yes, this is my friend, and we get along so well despite our differences. Why do they do that? Like they really think that does she really believe that anyone who sees this segment is going to go, yeah, her and McCarthy, share a car and go get a latte together and have fun? No, you hate him. You hate him because he's supposed to be the opposition that is in the way of your goals. And anytime you compromise with a member of his party, it's because you have some shared goal. Um, Other than that, there should be no respect or friendship or buddy, but any of that crap.
Morning. I am one of those people who has said from the beginning that Congress has an oversight responsibility. We need to continue that oversight, but we've got both of parties, by the way, have got to deliver for the people. And he was right to talk about prescription drugs. But where you go across this country, it's all I've heard about again this weekend. People are worried about the cost of health care, the cost of their prescription drugs.
So how come you couldn't get it over the line? How come you couldn't get the drug price bill over the line then?
Well, we did pass we passed some bills this week on drug pricing, but the fact of the matter is we've got to do a lot more. I hope we can do it in a bipartisan way, because here's the reality. If we can get
Anytime they use the word bipartisan, that spells doom, because it means whatever you think is good or whatever you like, expect it to get watered down or cut out by the other party. And that's why like this whole House and Senate thing is just a game at this point. Like they're too stupid to try and win enough seats to where the other party doesn't matter. But then like whenever I think we've been over this before, when the Republicans have a majority, they don't want to do anything with the Democrats. Democrats have a majority. Oh, let's embrace our Republican colleagues. But no, screw them. Do the same thing they do. It's a brilliant idea. Just win enough seats to where the other one is null and void, and act like they don't exist for 2 years and hope to get elected based off of what you've done in that time. Like this strategy of being buddy buddy with the enemy is not. It doesn't produce anything. Like look at the ACA. They go over here and they tell you this is some radical socialist thing, and then when they come forward with single payer, they say the exact same thing. But then the other one, the ACA, which is supposedly more moderate, didn't get any Republicans to vote for it anyway. So like you're screwed one way or the other. Like you can try and appeal to these people by bringing up their healthcare plan from 20 years ago, and it's just going to show you how more right wing they are than they were back then. So it's stupidity.
bills through the House. We want to work in energy and commerce, which is committee on right now, moving out these bills. The more bipartisan we make them, I think it's better off for the country. We need the Senate to move the bills. I assure you, we will get bills out of the House, and we will do it quickly. Let's hope that we can get bills that are bipartisan and that we can get the president signed. The president's hearing the same thing.
USMCA? You're going to vote for USMCA?
I'm not there yet.
Why not?
But,
Hey, there we go with more deflection stuff. You get asked, look, if you don't know what the USMCA is, it's the new major trade proposal. Like it's basically Trump's version of NAFTA, and that's why I call it new NAFTA, because I see it as being identical to the other one that outsources jobs and sends it to Canada and Mexico. But you know, she should have just said yes or no. You don't have to say I'm not there. Just say no and go. But I might change my mind in the future if such and such provisions are put. Isn't that a way better answer than I'm not there yet? What the hell does that even mean? Let's continue.
We're not there yet because there's two issues. One is that the progress in Mexico on the labor provisions, it's got to be stronger on the enforcement of those labor provisions. And they got to make it there. General Motors moved a Blazer plant or put a Blazer plant in Mexico $15 an hour. And we're competing with that. It's not tough enough to make sure that that doesn't happen yet. And two, President McCarthy did not talk about the fact that there are pharmaceutical provisions in there that will increase the cost of drugs. Ambassador Lighthouser knows that those have to be done. He is dealing, he said, tell me who to deal with. I'm talking to 100 people. He is dealing with the Speaker of the House. We know we need a level playing field. That's an important piece of legislation, but it's got to be done right.
So why couldn't she just say that from the beginning? Like, why do you have to say not there yet? You can't just say, here's my reasons for not wanting to vote for this, because you know they're not going to change all those between her appearing here and then also, you know, like getting to vote for it. So it's just everybody wants to be everybody's friend.
You've got 100,000 plus jobs on the line. Are you willing to vote no on USMCA and let those jobs go away?
Those jobs are already going away. That's the whole point of these trade deals. They take U.S. jobs and send them to Mexico and Canada, in particular Mexico, so they can pay the people who are working the same position, same number of hours, less money. And then the people at the top can all take turns slapping each other with their new dollars from cutting wages by more than half. Like that's the pyramid scheme. So her asking this question is stupid. Like this trade deal is crap, just like the one from the Clinton era. Like all these different trade deals have the exact same explicit purpose. So they can have fun with that.
No, well, I'm never going to vote for a job, but I'm not going to vote for a bad bill. And I think that's what legislation is. You move together, you compromise.
How about all of the anti-Israel rhetoric going on in
Here
your
we
chamber?
go.
You heard what Kevin McCarthy said. What about that?
You know, I think that we're at a unique time in American history. And look, I have one of the most unique districts in the country. The highest population of Muslims in the country, but I also have a very significant Jewish community. And both communities are under attack with people that are targeting them with hatred and fear and bigotry. We got to stand up against all of this. You know, one of the most fundamental pillars of our Constitution is freedom of religion. And these two communities, I am absolutely for a free state of Israel. We have to make sure that they can be there. But we've got to stop this denunciation of the Muslims that happens in this country too. We're a country that and freedom of speech. That's part of it.
Okay, this answer is very, 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 very garbage. Here's how she should have answered. I do not agree with the whatever, you know, Ilhan Omar's comments about Israel. I do, however, support her right to express them and not say the exact same things I would. Brought Vulture, is she from the UK? Why is she saying the word bigotry for? Yeah, you would think you're watching Parliament. Like her answer was so just word salad. Like they can't. This is my point. The entire time we've watched. Remember, this is only a 3-minute segment. Simple question, convoluted answer. Simple question, convoluted answer. Like just, are you gonna vote for this? I'm not there yet. Do you support, you know, whatever? Well, you know, this is kind of reminds me of, you know, what's happening in my community, and also this. Just say yes or no. And then maybe if you want to explain a little bit more, attach something at the end of it. Like, I hate this. God, the only reason this woman's even in office is because she got, became the arm candy of Dingell, the representative that was in there for 60 years. And that's not a figure of speech. That he literally was there for like 59 or something. All right, let's watch. That's too good right there. We're gonna watch this one. Oh, by the way, I didn't even know Buttigieg or Booty Judge or whatever the hell was having a town hall tonight. Like they had the timer on there. I was surprised.
Reform the country move to a merit-based system, prioritizing highly skilled workers. Joining us now is House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy from Florida today. Congressman, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Your reaction to the president's plan and the fact that the
By the way, and I know you won't catch this, Broad Vulture, but that congressman is from my state of California, and she just said that he was in Florida. So he, like, what the hell is he doing over there? Just a minor little thing. This is weird.
administration is lifting those tariffs on Mexico and Canada, perhaps as a way to make the USMCA legislation easier to pass.
Well, two milestones just happened in the last week. Lifting the steel tariffs on Canada and Mexico make it even closer to passing USMCA. And then look what happened in Mexico. One of the requirements the Democrats have had is that they change their labor laws. Well, that has passed the Senate in Mexico. So now there is nothing holding us back to pass the bill that would bring more jobs to America. And the timing could not be more perfect. It will only make us stronger in this battle with China, where China doesn't want to have a fair trade agreement, but it would unite Americas. And that is something that would be much stronger in this debate going forward, make America stronger, make our economy even bigger, and create, they're talking about more than 200,000 new jobs. So there's only one person holding this up. The Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, she can call up that vote and it will pass.
Well, that
Okay, so there was a small segment I did that I got rid of because it got interrupted yesterday, where I was talking about how these politicians do this thing with their voices to kind of sound like a way that is not natural. And he literally is putting on not only a voice, but a face that is so, I mean, what's a good term for it? It's like if you wanted to appear downtrodden by something and then at the same time confident. So his face is like this, and then his tone of voice is like, well, Speaker Pelosi can put this up, and then we're going to have 200,000 new jobs be created, and then suddenly, all these new jobs that don't pay worth the damn are going to make everyone be able to not live homeless and be better off. And I don't know why the speaker won't do this, because this bill would pass very easily. That's literally what he just did. This face and this tone of voice to sell you this idea that Pelosi, the speaker, whatever you want to call her, has the power to create all these jobs and is so evil and dastardly that she just doesn't want to do it. And I'm no Pelosi fan, so, but the idea, again, I'm not on his side either, because that trade bill is terrible. So it's like which pile of trash do you want to be more associated with? It's like if Broad Vulture goes to the back of his house and he has, let's say, like a green container of trash, and his neighbor has a red container, and he opens them both and they're filled with trash. And it's like, pick your poison. Which one?
hasn't she said she's not bringing it to the floor right now? Are you expecting the USMCA to come to the 4-4 vote so it can pass?
I want it to come to the floor because it will pass. And the requirements the Democrats have asked for have now been met. Those milestones of the trade of the steel tariff, the idea that Mexico would even have a vote in their own Senate to change their labor laws, proves it's an opportunity now to move forward. And I think it's a better time to do it now than moving later into the year, especially when we're dealing with China right now. We would want America to have a stronger hand in this debate.
So what can you get done with the Democrats? I mean, let me just end the USMCA conversation here. Do you expect it to come to the floor anytime soon?
I want it to come to the floor.
But you don't know.
I would hope it would come. The person that
Do you not see how horrible that answer was? Do you want this to come to the floor soon? I would hope. No. Do you think? I would hope. Just answer the question. Like, who's gonna really think about this? Who's gonna watch this interview and see him talk about how wonderful and awesome this trade bill is, and then not assume that he wants this to come up for a vote as soon as possible? Like, that answer on his part is so, like, that's how stupid he thinks the audience is, that if he doesn't remind them of his point or of his position every like 20 seconds during this interview, we're gonna forget. Like, oh, is he for it or against? I can't tell. Hey, remember that Spider-Man game, Friend or Foe? That's what we're gonna have. Is he green? Is he blue? Is he red? No.
Determines that, the Speaker of the House.
Mhm.
And I think even looking at America, understanding politics, knowing the presidential campaign is going to be moving forward, let's put people before politics. This makes America stronger. You ask for certain requirements, those have been met. Now is the perfect time to really focus on America, move this forward, and right now in the next 2 months would be the best time to vote on.
I mean, what have you wrote together?
Yeah, I don't know why he picked the next 2 months. Are these guys placed here on purpose? Is this the best representative they could offer us? Well, you know how it works. You vote for a member of the House, and then the actual representatives vote for their party leader in that chamber. So anytime you see Pelosi or McCarthy, any of these different, Schumer, McConnell, know that that's not who the people wanted. That's who the representative selected as their top guy, their person in charge. And what's even creepier is that you have to remember, a lot of times you see stuff on Twitter like Team Pelosi and all these other little dumb hashtags. It's from individuals who don't want to acknowledge the fact that if voters had their way, Pelosi would have no chance in hell of being speaker. And before someone says that's sexist, you have plenty of different representatives and senators that are better than Pelosi or Schumer or McCarthy or McConnell that are chicks. Like Warren for senator, Gabbard, who's actually going to be the next interview I show on here. But you get my point that the people don't get to pick who the top, ranking member of the House or Senate for their respective party is, and that's why this clown gets as much attention as he does. It's not about being popular, not about winning the election. It's just, oh, I was the one that my party propped up to be the talking point figurehead for this chamber for the next 2 years. He is the top guy. Yeah, he's the top dog, and he's the top guy because a couple of other people who, again, were voted in there, selected him. So it's, again, no democratic process, no, what did the actual voters think? None of that. Just let's all get a bunch of figureheads in charge to select and choose who gets stuck up a little bit more. And let me say a little O'Donoghue. Let's continue.
With the Democrats on, can you point us to some successes or work that could be successful in terms of the two parties working together so far?
Look, as Republican leader, I will work with anyone that wants to work and move America forward.
That's a lie. They had see, this is how stupid this is. They had a Senate, a House bill, and we've been over this Yemen thing multiple times, but let's not forget this passed in both chambers and then got vetoed by Trump and got voted against by him. And you have to remember, this conflict started under the Obama years, so you would think the administration wants to differentiate itself from the one that came before it, especially since the president spent his time critiquing all the policies of the person before him, and yet for some reason is steadfastly trying to keep this war going. That's why I said there is no difference between these people. And I bring that particular vote up, because you guys know I'm obsessed with Yemen, for the fact of stating that this bill in both the Senate and the House had Republican support. It had Mike Lee from Utah supported in the Senate, and it had, I believe it was Massey and Amash, these different libertarian Republican congressmen vote for it. And yet it still got screwed over because the higher ups in the party recognize that as something that damages their money from defense contractors, and they don't want to deal with it. It's bad enough we're bombing 6 other countries. You got to have that 7th one to make sure that things stay the way they are forever. So that's a lie. That comment he made there, whatever the best interest is in filling his little donor pockets.
Two opportunities, but it's very concerning. Last week, we were working about lowering prescription drugs. In energy and commerce, we actually passed 3 bills that would give the public and the consumer more options at a lower price, and it passed unanimously with every Republican and every Democrat voting for it. But before it came to the floor, the Democrat leadership put a poison pill in it. And in this poison
What
pill,
the hell? They were, hey, what's that? Remember what was that thing Orochimaru does where he like bites you and puts the seal on you? Like that's what that's what Pelosi did to the bill. Her and what's the House minority it's a majority leader, Steny Hoyer. They took the bill and they bit into it. They got poisoned. Okay, if my teacher asked me a question, I answered like this guy is, hands down, I'd get a bad grade for not being specific. That's what I'm saying. Like you would think these people never went to school. I can't think of a single class where they asked me, what is your answer, like a yes or no question, right? And I go, well, I personally am in favor of this, but I'm willing to look at all sides of the just answer the question. And like I said, you're never going to hear him talk about certain issues because he knows his positions on those issues are very, very unpopular. Let me tell you something. If you can get Republicans to support ending these wars, when supposedly the Democrats are the ones that are known as the ones who want to be out of the conflicts, and Republican, when both sides are saying get out of there, the actual voters, that anyone still supporting that is like basically casting career suicide, and he's aware of that, which is why he won't speak about Iraq, Somalia, Syria, Yemen, Pakistan. We're the other two, Libya, and Afghanistan. I think that's all of them. But my point is, he's not as stupid as he's letting on from this interview. He like this same congressman said that Bernie had a better chance of winning the primary than Biden because of all his fundraising and support from regular people. Like that's a correct answer that this clown gave, meaning that this is a public persona and that he's tricking people into thinking he's dumber than he actually is.
Dealing with the Affordable Care Act, they were now going to remove, according to the Congressional Budget Office, 1.5 million Americans' preferred health plan. They wanted to make sure that this bill would not become law. Even one of the congresswomen, who is one of the best friends with the speaker at SU, said she did not like this path going forward. And then when we look at Ways and Means, we just had the Secure Act dealing with pensions and other items. Passed the Democrat. And you know what's happening now before it's coming to the floor? They're removing the 529 plan to give the parents the freedom to save money for the kids' college. They're breaking their—
Well, and I don't think that actually is the way he's describing it, but if this is true and everybody voted for it and like now they're screwing with it, that is stupid. So again, this is not the Republican hate channel, the Democrat hate channel. If someone says something that makes sense, I don't care who's saying it.
Promise. And if that is the pattern, how could we ever get to an infrastructure deal or other items? That is the concern. This is not the same Democratic Party in the past. This has become a socialist Democratic Party.
Here we go. Throwing around the term that has no meaning, that is used to fearmonger and creep people out about some term they don't even like. I hate that so much, man. Here's an interview, right? And I think his answers were very stupid in general, but to his credit, he answers in some cases specifically, right? Talking about a bill that didn't pass, Democratic poison pill, they got rid of this, just speaking in a manner that is easily accessible to those that are not aware of what's happening in Congress, which all congressmen should do, talk about something and kind of give specific examples of what they're saying. And he goes from that to bringing up this generic term that is the modern day equivalent of calling somebody a communist. It's all a red scare designed to trick and make voters afraid of people that they don't even know anything about the actual positions of. If he wants to call them a party of, I don't know, blowing up the deficit, whatever, at least that's a specific critique. If I say all the Republicans are fanatics, what the hell does that even mean? Like, that doesn't tell you anything about their position. So, like, when he says that, it's stupidity, but it's worse than all the other stuff in this interview because it doesn't specify a gripe or complaint with the other side.
That wants greater control over our lives and less freedom.
So you're saying
See, like that doesn't actually tell you what the hell like he's talking about. Greater control isn't how, but this is the point of like why these people are stupid. They try to get their party associated with liberty and freedom and all this other crap, but then you're the same douchebags that support the Patriot Act and this mass surveillance program that's been going on since 2001. So, you know, you back the government being able to spy on me at all times, whereas there are various people on the left that don't. But I'm supposed to believe you're all in favor of liberty and freedom. And yes, I know there were libertarians like Rand Paul that are opposed to, you know, this massive spying program. But for every Rand Paul, there's about 5 or 6 of these of people of this ideology in the House and Senate that are on the Republican side who are completely fine with the surveillance state, which again was initiated by Republicans. Let's see. Yeah, in my national government class, first thing we were taught in debate was not to use absolutes, like use the word always or all to represent people. Yeah, but that's why like all you know, these different interviews are very good. I know I was about to use an absolute. I caught myself. These interviews have shown a penchant for having people on here that like they'll make these points and then they'll just kill it because they'll say something that goes against like everything they were talking about, like with Kudlow, right? The you've seen him before, the guy with the glasses, the economic advisor. Here's a person who, to his credit, when he gets up there and starts, you know, talking about how great everything is under Trump, he'll give specifics. He'll talk about the GDP, you know, just various parts of the economy, and then he'll segue that into talking about we're going to put socialism on Trump. It's like you were speaking specifically about problems relating to the economy and, you know, the different economic issues. Why did you have to throw that into the bathwater to start fear mongering about the other side? Like, screw them. I want to hear about your idea.
that you have produced bills, but when it's actually time to vote on them, your colleagues on the left are putting new things in there to make it hard for people to agree on.
Maria, look at this. In committee, every Republican and every Democrat voted for. Very tough discussion about prescription drugs.
Yeah.
Very
One
tough.
that the consumers on all ends would win. The parents being able to save money for their children's college. The Democrats have put poison pills. And I've said it on the show before.
Yeah.
The New Democrat Socialist Party is more concerned in subpoenas than they are with solutions.
You know the most screwed up part about him making that comment? So when he says socialist, he's talking about AOC, Bernie. But it's like, if you actually look at the Democrats who are like peddling that special counsel investigation, like Nadler and Waters and, you know, like the whole 9 yards, right? They're not known to support pretty much anything that the quote unquote they call themselves Democratic Socialists, that the socialists are in favor of. So he's literally talking about two different factions of the party. The one that are trying to do progressive things that you smear as socialist, and then the ones who are just obsessed with investigations and being neoliberals like Nadler, who, you know, you'll go and say are socialist anyway, and like lumping them all together and then getting surprised when no one takes them seriously, because people actually, to their credit, know who's on their side and who isn't. So I mean, like, I'm pretty sure if we go back to when Pelosi was speaker the first time, I think she had a 29% approval rating. Like, that was a really unpopular speaker, and it was for the fact that she was pushing a right-wing healthcare plan, keeping all these different conflicts going along with, you know, all the other Democratic leadership, and then got surprised or thought that, you know, just because I have a D next to my name, people won't hate me for this. Did you talk about Alabama's abortion ban? Alabama's abortion bill? Not well. I don't think I did. I'm pretty sure I didn't. I could maybe speak about that tomorrow. But, you know, I'm covering these Fox segments. That's a Sunday traditional. It's like going to church. That bill is insane, by the way. Just a spoiler alert.
One problem they have solved in this new majority.
Well, there's also the op-ed that you wrote last week with Mitch McConnell about the House standing against the toxic BDS movement. Now, there was a bill which Chuck Schumer supported and co-sponsored. Where does that stand in terms of anti-Israel rhetoric?
This is one of the most concerning. Here's a bill that passes this.
Hold on a second. Hello? What's wrong? Huh? Oh no. No, no, no. You mean why? After the way she spoke to me? Huh? Hello? Hello? Yeah. I don't even have the TV up. Oh. Hey, look, can I call you later? I'm in the middle of entertaining some company. No, he doesn't come back until next month. Uh, I'm so sorry. I apologize for the interruption. Imagine at church, like the pastor's talking about all this ancient stuff, and then his his phone starts. Hello, let's get on FaceTime. Second time someone said today is Sunday. I don't want to be rude and hang up on them. I would hate to have that happen. So I apologize for the interruption. I know that caused a lot of people to leave and get upset and frustrated. They're so excited for more Fox News clowning, but you know we're gonna get through this.
Senate 77-23. Chuck Schumer not only voted for it, he co-sponsored it. It has come to the House. They won't even schedule it in a committee.
Those monsters. They won't even schedule it in a committee. Had the Senate minority leader co-sponsor it, and those Democrats in the House won't even put it up for a vote. What's wrong with those mongrels?
This is what we're talking about when you say anti-Semitic. It goes to the core of it. It's about boycotting, divestment, sanctions against Israel, wanting Israel to fail.
Oh, here we go. So Netanyahu come for you. Got it. Hey, what's the APAC code? Swallowing Netanyahu's load. That's exactly what he did there. So for those of you who are not fully aware, Israel is ran by a right wing. I'm pretty sure everybody knows this at this point, but let's repeat. You know, there's always that first timer. Israel is known for having a right wing, human rights violating government under the Likud party and their leader or the current leader Netanyahu. And BDS is basically companies saying, okay, well, I'm not going to support all these all this murdering and way of doing things that go against my belief in human rights and just letting people live, because Palestinians have way less arsenal than the Israeli government. So when he says we're trying to get the Israeli government to fail, no, we're protesting against a right-wing government that goes against our own positions. And let me tell you how powerful the smear campaign has been. You have someone like, let me say a little Elliot. You have someone like Omar, right, who specifies her critiques at the Netanyahu government, says Israel, never says the word Jew at all, right? So it's painfully obvious. At worst, she's talking about the country of Israel. I had a person I know who heard all this Fox News propaganda say, "Oh yeah, they're going after Omar for what she said about the Jews." It's like she didn't say anything about them. Like that's how powerful the smear campaign was, where they've now put so much of like because you associate Jews and anti-Semitism, right? They've spent so much time fear mongering about Jews being spoken about in such a way that a person who didn't say a single thing about actual Jews but spoke about the Israeli government, which by the way is a separate entity, now is thought of by this person as saying something about a group of people they've never talked about. Like the rabbit hole goes deep.
Democrats say one thing, but this new socialist Democratic Party won't even allow this to go into committee. So we have one rule that we can deal with. It's called a discharge petition. Congressman Brian Mast has set it up. So all it takes is 218 members to sign that, to bring that bill directly to the floor. Only 21 Democrats need to sign it. They talk about it, but let's see if they really will stand up to the anti-Semitic things that are coming out, not across this world, but right in this.
Man, this is I would really, this is another thing I hate about streams. I wish I could put that guy, the comment he made on New Year's Day about this is going to be your mudslinging and grandstanding, right in front of this stream, or like edit it to where it plays while he's speaking, because it's so accurate to this interview. Like when he's talking about Democrats with this, Democrats with that, okay, fine. But when you like, you're calling them the socialists who are also anti-Semites, and then you can't even figure out how people would be turned off to you. Like you're making them out to be worse than Hitler, because you're going out of your way to associate them with all this different stuff, you know, these different words and terms that you know are bad. You know, at least to some people, but certainly anti-Semitism. The other one is like objective, and people like to flip and flop between both of them. But the point is, he can't figure out how this is literally smearing 101. Like, you know, I'm the good guy and not like those lazy, unaccomplished socialist, Jew-hating Democrats. Like, that's all in his answer reflected perfectly. Just holy hell, man.
Look, even within your own party, with your own division, I want to read this quote, this tweet from Justin Amash, your colleague. Is here.
That's a brilliant man, by the way. Not like screw this Trump stuff, because that's, I know that's like why Democrats are going to start liking him. He's been anti-war for as long as he's been in the House. He is one of the like maybe 3 or 4 Republicans in the House that actually is worth the damn, like to any extent.
My principal conclusions: the Federal Bar has deliberately misrepresented Mueller's report. Number 2, President Trump has engaged in impeachable conduct. Number 3, partisanship has eroded our system of checks and balances. Number 4, few members of Congress have read the Mueller report.
I would say probably all of those are correct. And again, that's coming from a person who really couldn't care less if Trump gets impeached or not. I don't think he's actually going to get removed from office. And I would rather they focus on, you know, like if, you know, referring to Democrats actually doing things that make them popular with people. But, you know, that makes too much sense. But I really do like number 3, where he says partisanship has eroded our system of checks and balances, because that's true. Like every single bill that passes now only gets through because a bunch of Democrats liked it, and there's like 5 Republicans for every 30 Democrats, and it's the same thing in the other chamber. Well, not currently, but you get my point that like that statement is accurate because it's a reflection of how bad things are at this point when it comes to just who introduced the bill. Oh, Republican? Well, I'm a Democrat, so I won't vote for it. Just, you know, obnoxious.
President Trump has responded to this, and the president tweeted right after Amash tweeted, and he says, "Never a fan of Justin Amash, a total lightweight who opposes me and some of our great Republican ideas and policies just for the sake of getting his name out there through controversy." What's happening, sir?
Well, apparently, those who know Justin Amash, this is exactly what it is. He wants to have attention.
So here we go. Telling you, man, this is the way the Republicans are structured at this point. You speak in any way that is not pro-Trump, and this goes to their voters too, because I've seen what they do on Twitter. If you say, "Oh, Trump was unfairly treated," they like your stuff, they retweet it, yada yada yada. But anytime you make a criticism of him, no matter how politely it is put, no matter how accurate it is, they either say it's what you're saying is fake or not true, because you know that's how we run our stuff now. Anything that I don't like is not correct. So, you know, under their logic, if I said the sky isn't blue, everybody in there has to believe that it's green or yellow, you know, or they start insulting you and, you know, going after you for having a difference of opinion. Again, no matter how well founded it is. So just this extends to the Congress members as well. When those Republicans voted against that, what was it, like 12 of them that voted against the national emergency declaration because, you know, they wanted him to pass it through all of Congress. Like even Republicans who back the wall voted to, you know, to not have it pass through the Senate. His supporters called him the Dirty Dozen, said these are the traitors, the rhinos, the ones who are in name only, part of the opposition party, the secret Democrats. Like those douchebags, for the most part, all voted with Trump over 70% of the time. Like, goddamn. But this is my point. One vote that gets attention, here they come. Now we suddenly care about trying to get people out of office. Like, no, you guys are the same pricks who, other than the presidential elections, don't even show up to vote. And if you do show up to vote, you sure as hell don't track the record of the congressman or senator that you have, which is very pathetic, by the way, because all their votes are posted online. So, no excuse.
And Justin Amash. He's been in Congress quite some time. I think he's only ever asked one question in all the committees that he's been in. He votes more with Nancy Pelosi than he ever votes with me.
That's also false, but whatever.
Whether he's even in our Republican Congress as a whole. What he wants is attention in this process. He's not a criminal attorney. He's never met Mueller. He's never met Barr. And now he's coming forward with this because this is what he wants. He wants a Sunday show to put his name forward with a question.
Hey, bro, Vulture, that's the third time somebody said Sunday, huh? You know what's funny about this? What do you think his response would have been about Amash, who shares a first name with yours truly? I'm so proud and flattered and makes me feel so good. If, let's say, Amash had come out and said, Trump is innocent of all things, the 18 evil, angry, horrible, anti-Semitic socialist Democrats all have it out for him. What do you think his response would have been to that? Amash is a talented guy. He knows what he's talking about. I love him. Let me bend over and lick his sack. I guarantee you, he would have said something such as that if Amash's response was, like hopefully pro-Trump with no kind of wiggle room for anything the Democrats say that have any validity. Because again, that's how they work. It's all bootlicking for the top dog, so that when he leaves in, whether let's be fair, let's be friendly to Trump supporters, in 6 years, 2 to 6, depending, or sooner if the impeachment stuff actually goes, which I don't think it will, but regardless, it's also that when he eventually leaves, when that day finally comes, they can all jockey for the next high position to run themselves. Bro, Vulture says he better lick that boot clean, just like that.
It's really disturbing because when you watch on the floor, you could have a bill with 200 votes all supporting it. There'll always be one opposed, and that'll be Justin Amash.
Well, it's also speculated that he wants to run against President Trump in the 2020 election as a libertarian.
I would donate to him, and if Sanders or Warren or Gabbard didn't make it through the primary, I would vote for him over whoever the Democratic nominee is too. That's how serious I am about his views being more aligned with mine than most of the liberals. Like a lot of these Democrats give lip service to single payer and tuition free school, but I don't think that they would actually do it. It's like 3 people and that's it.
He said that to you?
I know he said it on some show before. He had a very hard time winning in the last election, so I wonder maybe he wants some type of exit strategy. But it's very disturbing. This is exactly what you would expect from Justin. He never supported the president, and I think he's just looking for attention.
Congressman, it's good to see you this morning. Thank you.
Well, yeah, when you're thinking of running for president, what do you want so that your campaign can actually get out and your name can be known by more people? Spell it with me. ATTENTION. What's that say? Attention. It's like, of course he wants it. Like what politician who is, dare I say, ambitious wouldn't want to be known for taking a stand against the leader of their party and courting, the other members of the other party, and then the parts, members of his party as well that don't like that person. Are you guys worthy of hearing someone that actually is worth a damn? Let's play it.
He's the sole decision maker at the White House as reports of friction inside the administration percolate. So is there some sort of intervention in Iran?
No, he's not. I'm sorry, but Bolton's foreign-ish views are more articulated in the last year. Remember, Bolton was in office for a week before we started bombing Syria, or before we sent that airstrike. I don't know if you guys remember the one that it was such a big deal that they had the news notification was in April of last year. Bolton was in office for 1 week before that started, and I'm not supposed to believe that was a coincidence.
On the horizon, discussing special guest, Hawaii Congresswoman and 2020 presidential contender, Democrat Tulsi Gabbard. Nice to have you with us tonight.
Shannon, great to be here.
Okay, so let's talk about the Wall Street Journal quoting a senior defense official says this: This is a case where credible intelligence drove measured, appropriate operations. We know that some lawmakers have been briefed. There's a push for all of them to be briefed next week. Are you confident that the administration is taking measures in line with what they actually know?
I'm looking forward to getting that briefing. I can tell you as a soldier, I serve in the Army National Guard. I've been serving for over 16 years. I've deployed twice to the Middle East, and in Congress have served over 6 years on both the House Foreign Affairs and the Armed Services Committees. And I know two things very well. First is the high human cost of war. You know, these wars across the Middle East and Iraq, thousands of my brothers and sisters in uniform lost their lives, many more injured. And I also know the cost on the American people. You know, the trillions of dollars that we've spent since 9/11 alone on waging these wasteful regime change wars, how those wars have undermined our national security.
Oh, with a breath of fresh air. Jesus Christ. By the way, just to let you know, I'm pretty sure we had more people. The number escapes me, but I'm very confident we had more American soldiers get murdered between Iraq and Afghanistan than people who actually died in 9/11. So I hope you realize that in the end, our seeking revenge over that horrible, horrible day cost more blood than it did a reward, along with the trillions of dollars she mentioned. So let's continue.
And how they have strengthened terrorist groups. So when we talk about a potential war with Iran, which is looking like we are walking very dangerously down, what is important for the American people to know is that a war with Iran would make the war in Iraq look like a cakewalk. The devastation and the cost would be far greater than anything we've ever experienced before.
I really wish, and maybe she does later in this interview because I've never seen it before. I wish that she would bring up the real reason, like the principal reason we would even have war with Iran, which is because we love Israel so much, and them along with Saudi Arabia have us basically like, just picture Israel and Saudi Arabia as like a married couple, and like the US as their dog, and like them walking with the collared US around their house. Like that's what we are. We just, any problem they have becomes ours because we decided to, you know, basically adopt their government and their politicians' positions as our own. So, oh, Iran's messing with Israel. That's your arch nemesis. That's, you know, the Joker to Israel's Batman, even though it will probably be the other way around, honestly. Well, now we you know, we're going to fight Iran, you know, in your place and on your side. And that's why I said that I encourage people not to join the military. And that's not because of some unpatriotic position, but in an era where the U.S. is casting these foreign interventions with countries that haven't done anything to us, I don't think soldiers should get blown to pieces because higher up figures who are never going to be on the battlefield have decided to pick an area or a different region in the world as their place of conquest.
The president said today when he was asked, like, are we heading to war with Iran? He says, I said that's absolutely the opposite of what we want. And so there's a lot of people that the president has been saying, I don't want this stuff. This is absolutely not something we want to get into. You know, during the campaign, he talked all the time about getting out of places. He does not want to be somebody who gets into foreign incursions that we don't need to. But today, this is what Senator says on the Senate floor. He described the situation as serious and potentially imminent threat to U.S. forces and said the Trump administration is right to reposition military assets and be in a position to retaliate should Iran launch U.S. interests in Iraq or the Middle East.
That's Israel talking. Now, like imagine the Israeli government is like Danny Phantom, and they've infiltrated Rubio's body and made him go, must go after Iran, must go after Iran. That's literally what that comment was. Man, I'm telling you, every year they pick a different country to just start screwing with. Like Trump's first year, it was North Korea. The second year it was Iran. This year it was Venezuela, and now it's going back to Iran. Like we need to just make like a Trump comic book of like his tenure as president and just make those three countries his like arch enemies. Like they're all places he wants to mess with for no reason. Oh my God, that anyone who says something that's like in favor of them gets smeared as like a lackey for their government. Like, well, you guys are lackeys for the Israeli government. Look what you're doing for them.
So knowing that the president was so dead set against it. Does it convince you now that he's seen something significant to change his mind?
Well, I think I would look at two things. First of all, as a soldier, I understand the need for us to be prepared. And I understand the need for us to keep the American people safe, to put our national security. What's concerning to me is that while Trump and others in his administration are saying that they don't want to go to war with Iran, I hear them saying that more now that they're getting a lot of pushback from our allies, like those in the UK. When in fact the actions that the administration has been taking are speaking or telling us another story, that it's actually pushing us closer and closer to the prospect of a war with Iran. This is what I'm very concerned about, because I know that that cost on our troops, on the American people, on civilians across the Middle East and the region, creating more refugees, creating more instability in Europe. I mean, the cost would be very great. They have not presented that evidence to Congress yet. So
And you'll get a briefing next week.
we look forward to getting that information and considering it very closely.
We have some brand new polls today. You're running for the presidency. Fox News poll has you in 11th place now at 1%. And I think it's interesting.
Out of how many?
There are a lot. I mean, listen, there's a field of like 23, 24 people now. But I think it's interesting that so many of the men who are doing well are talking about, I'm going to add a woman. This is something I'll do to my ticket. I thought it was very clever that Senator Kamala Harris responded this way about that she would be added to someone else's ticket, like maybe the former vice president.
I think that Joe Biden would be a great running mate as vice president. He's proven that he knows how to do the job.
What do you think of this talk that a woman somehow needs to be added to the ticket?
Look, I think it's kind of offensive to women that this is as far as we look is just to our gender, rather than saying who's the best qualified person.
That's absolutely correct. Like, I'm so sick of hearing, if a man win, must put vagina on presidential ticket, must put vagina on ticket. Because it's like, there are plenty of chicks, whether it's Warren or Gabbard or Turner, that I think would be great on the ticket with Sanders or any of these other people. But the idea that you're going to pick them over, like, pick them over anybody else, not for their positions, but because of what's in between their legs, is retarded to me. So let's continue.
To serve as commander-in-chief, to serve as president, and who is the best qualified person to serve as your partner and as your running mate. That's the kind of discussion, honestly, that I would like to see, rather than sticking with the superficial.
Chromosomes.
Chromosomes,
Okay, how do you get beyond 1%?
First of all, let me talk to, and how we get beyond 1% is really focusing on those qualifications. And that's my message that I'm bringing to the American people across the country, is why I'm qualified to serve them as commander-in-chief. Looking at the experiences that I've had of serving as a soldier for over 16 years, of having that experience being deployed twice to the Middle East, of understanding the importance of our national security, while also understanding firsthand the high cost of war on our troops and on the American people, and bringing that experience and judgment to the forefront, where I can walk in on day one and be ready and prepared to do that job of president and commander-in-chief.
And I think a lot of folks wish that, you know, your political, where you are on the spectrum, they want more veterans having more of a voice in our government. So,
Oh yeah, by the way, I don't know if you guys know this, but in the presidential elections, the person, like in recent years, whoever has the least military experience wins the general election. So like McCain was this big decorated war hero, as people like to call him, lost to Obama, a guy with no war experience. Same thing with Kerry and Bush, where it was like, you know, one has more than the other. In both of the last two, so the 2016, 2012 ones, neither person has had any, which has made it like, I just found that really interesting. Just like, by being in the military, you have a lesser chance of winning than someone who hasn't been in it. Like, by having more experience in this type of position, it's like somehow unenticing, or I really think it doesn't hurt your chances. It's people don't care, and I can't say I blame them. So.
for your service on multiple fronts, candidate and congresswoman.
All right, that's the last of these different interviews. I just want to close it out with someone I actually liked, who, I mean, she's only at 1% because of low name recognition. Because the only congresswoman they talk about now is AOC. Less experience makes it easier to win candidacy. Yeah, believe it or not, man, I'm telling you, I went through. It was like the last. This has been a thing since I think the older Bush lost to Clinton. Like ever since then, because I know Dole had more experience than Clinton, and he lost. And then Gore and Bush. I guess that's kind of more debatable. But my point is that every single time in the last several decades, they've had this happen. So it's another continued issue. But look, I hope you enjoyed it, Brawl Vulture. I hope the other 4 people that were in there liked it. I guess tomorrow I'll talk about the Alabama abortion bill, maybe put some news up for it and just kind of go over it. So thank you for watching and have a good day.